at the end of post-production, we'll just add one thing. I was gonna talk about it in distribution, but let's just add it now.
Okay.
So once your movie is all finished, everything's together, and you have this final film, now you have to get it ready for what we call delivering it. It's called delivery. All right. So it's not like you say, "Oh, here's my movie. Here we go." Because depending on where you're selling it, which platform, which country, which medium, everybody needs something different. So let me give you an example, okay? So let's say you make your movie, right? And you want to sell it to obviously in the United States, the movie's going to be as it is, right? But let's say you want to sell it to France. Say people want to see this beautiful epic football movie because it's inspirational. And they don't play, NFL football there, but some people like it, right? So they want to see this movie in France, but they want to see it in French, not in English. And you shot in English.
Mm.
So now you have to go back, and if you want to shoot it, you're not going to reshoot the movie with French actors. What you're going to do is you're going to have actors dub the movie in French. So you're going to get voice actors who come in and re-say all the lines of all the actors in French. And you're actually going to cast those actors because you're going to make sure that the voices match sort of the other actors that actually did it. So you're going to go through a whole casting process, and there's going to be a director, and they're going to say it this way and do it this way, and here's the emotion and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to redo the entire track, and it's going to be in French. But you have to insert that French track into the movie. So how do you do that? You have to remove the dialogue track of the English people in order to insert the French people, right? But that's not how it's done. The way it's done is, and this is what delivery is. When you deliver a movie, the one way to deliver it is the finished film. Here it is, it's all done, everything's mixed in, the final thing. But most of the platforms you're delivering to, whether it's Netflix or whatever, or the French people or whatever, they say, here's how you deliver it. You deliver your picture is one component of the delivery. Your sound and sound effects and music, that's another component. Your dialogue, that's a third component. So you breaks it down into components. All right. So there's what we call an M&E track, a music and effects track. That's by itself. The picture track, that's by itself. The dialogue track, that's by itself. And then they get these all and they put them together, and that's how they make the movie, right? But in the case of the French thing I just said to you, they're going to take that dialogue track, which is the English dialogue track, and they're going to remove it, and they're going to take their French dialogue track and insert it.
Okay.
And it's going to match, and it's all going to fit in because it's all done by time code. So in order to do delivery properly, you have to have all these things separated, and you have to be to deliver them separately to the specifications that they want to receive them. And depending on where you're doing it, they might say, we want the speed, it's called the frame rate. We want the frame rate at this size. We
Right.
want the quality of the picture. Like we want it to be a 4K quality or a 1080 quality or something like that. And each broadcaster, each platform or whatever where you're delivering, which we'll talk about in the distribution side, will have different specifications. A lot of them are the same, but they give you a list of how they want you to deliver it, the elements they want you to deliver, and the specifications of how you have to deliver it. So it's not like I finished the movie, I mixed it, here it is, here's the drive with the movie on it. No, I want it all delivered in pieces so that we can put the pieces back together and air it the way we want to air it.
Oh.
That's
So
delivery.
you're not just putting the French track on there and saying, "Okay, you guys can use this."
Somebody is. You generally aren't. I mean, it's usually, you can do it if you want to get involved in that. So that's the process of delivery. It's like saying to your customers, say, okay, we'll buy your movie, but here's how we want to take it. We want it with this French track. We want it with these, they specify how they want it. I mean, that's an extreme example, obviously, because we're changing the language. But Netflix, if you're selling it to, say, Netflix, right? Netflix will have a delivery schedule. They have it. It's actually online. You can see it. And it outlines exactly what levels the voices have to be in a movie, what level the music has to be, what the picture quality has to be. And these things, by the way, they go through these things called a quality control check, a QC. So they have to make sure that fit the specs of the platforms that are taking them. Otherwise, because they're broadcasting them all over the world, and it has to fit exactly the right specs. It can't be too loud, too can't be too dark, too light, too this. It has to fit into the box that they've created. So you have to make sure that you deliver it the way they want it. So there's a lot of work to do that properly. And a lot of times filmmakers will hire a company. There's companies that specialize in making delivery. But you have to have all the elements. You have to have it done properly and broken down so that you can actually deliver properly. But
Okay.
deliver, like, if you're doing, some of my films were worldwide on Netflix. I mean, I had to do, I think, 25 language dubs.
Hmm.
So what I just described for French, I had to do that for 25 languages. You have to hire actors. Now, there's companies that do it for you because you don't speak that language, so you don't even know what they're saying, right? So they have to retranslate the script, first of all. Then they have to hire the actors, record them all, mix them all, put it all in. So it's a lot of work. And
Mm.
sometimes delivery is extremely expensive, especially when you're doing that. And sometimes producers do not account for that. They rarely budget for delivery, and delivery can be very expensive.
Is that something that happens after the movie is aired and then people like it, then they say, let's translate it to different
No,
languages?
usually it's before. Usually,
Okay.
I mean, sometimes it is. Sometimes, and that's one example is the language. Let's say you only shot in English and you're only delivering in English, but let's say you're delivering to Netflix, right? That's going to be sort of your streaming platform, but you're also delivering it to, say, NBC because they want that movie too. So the specs that they want at NBC might be different than the specs at Netflix. Netflix might want a version that has a certain, you know, technical spec rate that's a little bit different than NBC. So you got to jig that and change it a little bit. It's based on the technology that they're using to broadcast.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. It's very technical part. It's not artistic at all. It's technical. But it's an important part, and you have to do it properly, because if you don't do it properly, they don't accept it. Like, if you don't deliver your movie to Netflix properly with the specifications they want, then even if they love your movie, they're not going to air it because they can't, because it doesn't fit into their system requirements.
Okay.
So, and everything has to be checked and double checked and quality controlled and made sure it all passes before they'll accept it.
Okay.
That's delivery.
I think that wraps up post production.
That does.
Awesome.
I mean, delivery is usually part of distribution, but
Yeah.
so sometimes the distributors will pay for that kind of stuff. They'll charge it back to you. Sometimes even the broadcasters will pay, but often at the end of the day, the producer is going to end up paying for it one way or the other.
Okay.
It's part of finishing and selling your movie. But that's post production.
Awesome.